Also, the spotlight is shining on the battleground state of North Carolina. That governor's race there is being seen as a major test for both parties' strategies heading into November. The leading candidates, you've got Republican Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson and Democratic Attorney General Josh Stein. They're viewed as polar opposites here. The state currently has a Democratic governor, but Republicans control the legislature. Let's bring in NewsNation Chief Washington anchor Leland Vittert, host of On Balance. Happy Super Tuesday to you, Leland. North Carolina, obviously once a reliable Republican stronghold, but it's become much more competitive as population has become more diverse. How big of a deal is the outcome of this governor's race?
So today will determine if we get the ultimate matchup, right, between Alex Stein and Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson being more Trump than Trump, right? And he's got some what would be in any other political environment fatal flaws. How he talks about abortion being murder, how he's cozied up to anti-Semitism and Holocaust denialism. All these things that used to be disqualifiers in a Republican nomination fight in a primary, he's probably going to win today. And Alex Stein, the Attorney General, is effectively a Southern Democrat in the old sense of the term. So assuming the two win, which is what it looks like is going to happen, it will set up the most expensive governor's race of the cycle. And it also will be a microcosm of what's happening nationally in terms of a conversation between traditional and progressive values, a conversation between urban and rural, the redivide of the American electorate between white working class folks heading to Donald Trump and suburban college educated folks heading to Democrats. This is what's setting up. What is interesting about North Carolina is going to be how the Democrats try to raise money nationally off of what they're going to brand an ultra MAGA candidate. Yeah. That they want to sort of set up this dichotomy of making every election across the country a referendum on Donald Trump.
Yeah, and you bring up that Robinson is more Trump than Trump himself. And just days ago, President Trump, while he was endorsing Lieutenant Governor Robinson, calling him, quote, Martin Luther King on steroids. How will Robinson's embrace of Trump impact this contest and the voters who are headed to the polls today?
It's a great question. And this is a primary. So, this is Mark Robinson will probably coast to the nomination and Alex Stein will coast to the nomination in his race. The issue I think that is going to be fascinating to watch is what happens to the black electorate, especially black males in North Carolina. That may give us an insight as to what's happening nationally. Mark Robinson, African-American Republican, in sort of this new image of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's made a lot of outreaches to the African-American community over the past, say, 6 months or so, especially in the past month. We remember the event down in South Carolina a couple of weeks ago ahead of their primary. So if Mark Robinson's able to pull away, say, 10 or 15% of the black male vote, that is enormous. Especially to a state like North Carolina that gives Republicans a playbook for how to do it in Georgia, potentially how to do it in Pennsylvania, potentially how to do it in a place like Michigan.
Yeah, and also that Emerson College poll just found that President Biden has a 38% approval rating in North Carolina. So what's the likelihood that Stein will actually be out campaigning alongside of him, or do you think they keep their distance here?
That's a great question, Markie. The unpopularity of Joe Biden down ballot, unlike in the midterms when we saw candidates really push Joe Biden away and it worked, and Barack Obama and other surrogates came out, you can't do that this time around because Joe Biden is actually on the top of the ticket. The Democrats would respond, look, Donald Trump is on the top of the ticket as well. You could argue that this is the first time really in American history, maybe we've had a totally negative election. And by that, I mean the biggest motivator for Democratic voters is hatred of Donald Trump. And for a lot of Republican voters, they're much more anti-Biden, we find, than they are pro-Trump. The pro-Trump group is bigger than the pro-Biden group, but there's certainly an enormous amount of energy voting against somebody rather than for somebody. We don't know yet how that'll work down ballot. Interestingly enough, Nikki Haley, who you were just talking about, That's a big part of her closing argument in her stump speech is, look, not only am I going to beat Joe Biden in polling by 18 points and I'm going to have a runaway victory, but I'm going to bring along all of these Republicans behind me, all the way from senators to dog catchers and state legislatures into the Republican camp because of how badly I beat Joe Biden.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.